Today we will discuss Chapter 12, which is related to the inventory planning and control. First of all, we need to know exactly what is the meaning of inventory. We will answer the following questions in this chapter. We will answer the question of what's inventory, so we'll define the inventory. Okay, and we will see why the inventory is necessary in the operations. And also we will see what are the advantage or the disadvantages of holding inventory. Okay, so holding more inventory means more cost. Okay, let us say it like this. Okay, and then after that we will see how much inventory should an operation hold. When should an operation replenish? Replenish means refill the inventory. When the inventory is finished, for example, or reduced to a certain amount, then we need to refill again the inventory. First of all, what's the inventory? The inventory means the needed items or needed materials for completing the operations. In this figure, which is figure number 12.2 in page 371 in the book, we have this figure that shows us the position of the inventory. We have the rate of supply from input processes or process, and then we have the inventory here in the middle of the operations and the rate of demand from output process. That means the inventory is in the middle between the input process and the output process. Here is the inventory. Okay, you can imagine that the inventory is raw materials or spare parts that needed to produce final products and services. Okay, we have many types or several types of inventory. The first type of inventory is what we call it single stage inventory system. Single stage inventory system. In single stage inventory system, we have only one inventory place or one inventory that comes from all the suppliers. Those are the suppliers, okay, and then they all accumulate the stock or the inventory in one place, okay, and then after that we do our operations and we produce our final products, and then we send it to the sales operation in order to sell the final product. This is what we call it single stage inventory system. In single stage inventory system, there is only one process. There is only one operation. That means all the spare parts will come in the same area, and then based on our operations we collect or assemble those spare parts, and then we produce our final products and send it to sales operations. Of course, this is the most simple way of inventory. If we have only one process in our operations, we need to make single stage inventory system. Like for example, if we are producing a simple product like chairs, for example. We are producing a chair, okay? In a chair we need some woods plus some screws, okay? The screw suppliers or the screws suppliers and the wood suppliers, all of them will put together their spare parts here in this area, which is also, for example, belongs to IKEA. And then the IKEA laborers or the IKEA engineers will collect those woods and those screws together and make their final products which is chairs or tables, and then directly they give it to sales operations or sales department to sell these products, these final products. Okay, an example here, they put an example of local retail store. Local retail store, Al-Atem, Banda, all of them, Carrefour, any one of them has retail, has operations. All the suppliers will bring the goods or the products to them, and they stock it, and then they sell it directly. We have also the second stage or two-stage inventory system, which has only two stages. Like, for example, the car distributor or automotive means cars. Okay, cars parts distributor. Okay, in the car distributor business or car distribution business, the suppliers, this is the supplier for the engine, for example, and this supplier for the glass, and this supplier for the seats, for example. Okay, they are together, they put their parts here in the central depot or central inventory area or central stock, and they ask the distributor or they ask the distribution department to give it to local distribution point, and local distribution point has also inventory. Here we have here, this is the first inventory, and this is the second inventory. Okay, and then after that, after they give it to the local distribution point, the local distribution point will give it to sales department in order to sell those spare parts. Here we have two inventory areas, okay, or two inventory places here. This is the first one, and this is the second one. Okay, finally we have what we call the multi-stage inventory system, which is the most complex inventory system. We have several stages in production. We have this is the first inventory system or first inventory area, and we finish by assembling some of the parts here to make one big part. Okay, and then we put all those parts. Okay, we still did not make our final products. We just make one big part by assembling 2 or 3 parts from here to make one big part here, and then those big parts will be also again accumulated in another area, okay, as a work in progress. Work in progress. WIP means work in progress. And then after that we take this big item or this big product and make another process or another stage to produce a bigger part. Again we accumulate or we stock the other parts here. Okay, and finally in the stage 3 we make the final product or the finished good or service. Okay, and finally we put our final goods here in this area to the sales department. Okay, so we have, as we can see here, we have several stages in inventory. This is the first stage, this is the first inventory stage, this is the second inventory stage, this is the third inventory stage, and this is the final inventory stage. Like here, the television manufacturer. Like television manufacturer. You can imagine that, for example, we have the small circuits. The suppliers will bring the small circuits that's inside the television, and then we make like the control cables or control board here, and then we take this control board to another stage to finish another thing, and then finally we get the television. At the end we get the television here and we stock it in the final stage. Okay, here we discuss this figure, okay, at the previous lecture, and we said that at the beginning we have full inventory. We have the complete inventory level. here. For example, if we decide to make our inventory 1,000 pieces, then here we have 1,000 pieces, okay? And during our operations, this inventory will decline until it reached the zero level. But we don't want the inventory to be at the zero level, so that we need to replenish or refill the inventory again, okay? So when it reaches zero, we need to refill it again, and then in the operation it decline, and then it reach zero level, and then we replenish or refill it again, and so on, okay? So how many times we need to refill it? We said that there is what we call it the number of orders, and we can find out the number of orders, okay, by dividing the demand which is the customer demand, okay? For example, if the customers require 1,000 pieces, okay, if the demand was 1,000 pieces per year, okay, and in any ordering time, we decide the order to be, for example, 100 pieces, okay? So we divide 1,000 by 100, that means 10, then we need to order 10 times during the year, okay? So this is the number of orders number of orders for the stock or for the inventory, number of orders. Okay, here we said that this is the order quantity, which is Q, okay, and the average quantity that needs to be exist anytime. That means we need to make sure that we have at least half of the quantity inside the stock area or inside the inventory. Then the average inventory will be Q by 2. Q, which is this one, by 2. We said that we have 100 pieces, and the average inventory will be 100 by 2, which is 50. So this is the average quantity here, or the average inventory is 50. The EOQ cannot be calculated unless the demand is predictable. The demand is predictable. What is the meaning of predictable? If you remember, we said that there is two types of demand, right? We have the independent demand and we have the dependent demand, okay? Here the predictable means the dependent demand, the demand that we can predict, okay? So in EOQ, so here the quantity, the Q here, the Q means the quantity, the number of stocks that's ordered every time. Every time we order Q number of stocks, okay? And D means the yearly demand, the demand that we know exactly that it will happen until the end of the year, okay? And here the Q by 2 is the average inventory. The average inventory here is Q by 2, okay? And numbers of orders during the year or until the end of the year, we have D by Q numbers of delivery or number of orders. Is it clear? Okay, good. Okay, this is a good example. This is a good example. The two alternative inventory plans with different order quantities. Here we have two plans for inventory.